Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a movie review. This movie is an action horror film from the United States, English language, released in the year 2015, directed by David Hackle, and this film is called Into the Grizzly Maze. So Into the Grizzly Maze is set in a community in the Alaskan sort of wilderness. You've got a police officer and his brother who was estranged from. They're estranged brothers, and this brother has been gone for a very long time. He's been in trouble with the law, and he's come back home for reasons that are unclear. So the police officer is keeping a close eye on his brother, and they've got this brother has history with some of these women in this group. It's a typical sort of story where a guy hasn't seen a community for a very long time, and it kind of invokes past sort of feelings that come to the front, and they have to deal with them. So very generic way that the movie tells him as far as characters are concerned. But basically, what this movie is about this rogue bear. This rogue bear is known for tearing people to pieces. It's very intelligent, and it basically is fearless. So it becomes a very formidable opponent, and this bear has to be stopped because this police officer's wife has gone into the wilderness because she does studies on bears, and she's basically walking right into danger, and she's unknowingly prey to this savage bear. So they all go in with the intention of hunting this bear down and saving the wife, but then all of a sudden they realise that they're way over their heads and they're all in grave danger. So who comes out of this alive is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Into the Grizzly Maze. As I just said, detailing that synopsis, this movie does feel like it's been done 100 million times before, except this time it has a savage bear. Now what I mean by that is that you've got this brother who's very mysterious. He's left the community for reasons that you're not quite aware of, but then he comes back. He basically brings up the past, the past feelings with him and this woman. They used to be an item together, but since he left, very suddenly, there's a lot of tension between them, and they're starting to develop these feelings once again. And all the way through the film I thought, I've seen this all before, and I really didn't like that aspect of it. I thought that it was very irritating. The characters were not very likeable, and that is a great shame, because the actors in this movie were actually pretty decent. You've got Thomas Jane, who is off The Mist, and he was also The Punisher. He's also been in a lot of other movies. I'm a big fan of his, but he played this police officer. He was by far the most likeable character. But then you've got this other guy, I can't recall his name, but he's been in a lot of stuff as well. He's the estranged brother that just irritated me. He was supposed to be the hero of the story, but I couldn't get any likability. I just thought, oh, I hope this bear wins. I hope this bear just tears this guy to pieces, because he feels like he's a guy with a chip on his shoulder. He feels like he had a traumatic events in his past, but you don't feel for him. All you feel is that you want him off the screen. You want Thomas Jane to be on the screen for most of the time, because it just feels like it's a distraction. And then you've got Bob Thornton, who plays the savage hunter. He was a stereotypical sort of lunatic, but I actually really liked his character as well. I thought Bob Thornton and Thomas Jane's characters were by far the best in this film. I thought the women were a distraction. They didn't need to be on this journey into the wilderness. I thought it just halted the progression and the fun of the film. And as I said, just the characters, the unraveling of the characters, and the characters, the depth of the characters, it's been done a million times before, and it just doesn't provide anything new and doesn't provide anything that you care about. So when the bad things are happening, the suspenseful levels aren't as high as they should be, because there is that quality that, as I said, because you've seen it 100 times before, you're watching a movie instead of actually watching something that could possibly happen. So I reviewed a movie a long time ago called Backcountry, which was a fantastic bear film, a bear attack film, because it felt so real. It didn't feel like it was going through generic sort of character problems and character studies. It just felt like you were actually with these people, and when the bear comes, you feel genuine fear. But in this movie, the fear, it just doesn't hit you. It just feels like a Hollywood movie that has been done a million times before, except this time it's different because there is a bear in it. Now I will say the cinematography is excellent. It captures the wilderness beautifully. I thought there was just, the scenery was amazing. On a production level, it is actually very well shot. The script isn't, although the characters are done a million times before, the script isn't terrible. There are moments that are memorable. I thought the bear is actually a real bear, Bart the bear, which is a fairly famous bear in Hollywood. He was actually in this film, and I thought some of the scenes with the bear looked very good, but other scenes looked very dodgy, and I didn't like the way it actually started. There is a scene at the start where it introduces you to this bear that really doesn't look very good, and I thought to myself, oh, is it going to be one of those movies? But it does pick up, and I thought some of the bear attack scenes were fairly decent, although I would have liked a little bit more gore. But there were some tense atmospheric moments inside this wilderness. But as I said, because all these characters, you don't like them at all, you hope that the grizzly bear just tears them to pieces, it kind of eliminates all sense of suspense and the claustrophobic feeling, and that the feeling of panic and despair and, you know, the desperate situation that they were in, you couldn't connect to, because it just felt like these characters were just the very familiar characters, I guess you could say, just characters that you've seen before. And for me, that was the greatest disappointment in this film. There were some moments of there were some moments that really didn't make sense. For instance, Billy Bob Thornton's character having a horse through this wilderness, you know, basically helping him carry things. I can understand that, you know, the horse can carry a lot, but it would have been very awkward to maneuver himself around in this wilderness. So that just seemed a little bit silly. And there are other moments that felt very silly as well. So as far as a bear film is concerned, I think this is definitely not one of the movies that you're going to remember anytime, you know, for a long time after you've seen it. I thought the ending was very, very generic. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I knew exactly who was going to survive and who was going to die, because, as I said, it's basically something you have seen 100 times over, and for that I was disappointed. I had expectations for this film, but unfortunately it just doesn't deliver, and as a result of that, it is not coming recommended. So overall, for Into the Grizzly Maze, going to give it 2 stars, disappointing. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.